Students, welcome in our third video. In this video, we will talk about firstly the Project Tiger. Tiger is one of the key wildlife species in the Fanul Verb. In 1973, the authorities realized that the tiger population had dwindled. It's dwindled to 1,827 from an estimated 55,000 at the turn of the century. The major threats to tiger population are numerous, such as poaching for trade, shrinking habitat, depletion of prey-based species, growing human population, etc. The trade of tiger skin and the use of their bones in the traditional medicines, especially in the Asian countries, left the tiger population on the verge of extinction. Since India and Nepal provide habitat to about two-thirds of the surviving tiger population in the world, these two nations became prime targets for poaching and illegal trading. Project Tiger, one of the well-publicized wildlife campaign in the world, was launched in 1973. Initially, it showed success as the tiger population went up to 4,000 in 1985 and 4,334 in 1989. But in 1993, the population of the tiger had dropped to 3,600. There were 39 tiger reserves in India covering a large area. Tiger conservation has been viewed not only as the effort to save an endangered species, but with equal importance as a means of preserving biotypes of sizable magnitude. Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand, Sundarban National Park in West Bengal, Bandhavgarh National Park in Madhya Pradesh, Siriska Wildlife Sanctuary in Rajasthan, Manas Tiger Reserves in Assam, and Periyar Tiger Reserves in Kerala are some of the tiger reserves in India we are having. Students, now we will talk about types and distribution of forest and wildlife resources. Even if we want to conserve our vast forest and wildlife, it is rather difficult to manage, control and regulate them. In India, much of its forest and wildlife resources are either owned or managed by the government through the forest department or other government departments. These are classified into reserved forest, protected forest and unclassed forest. So more than half of the total forest land has been declared reserved forest. Reserved forests are regarded as the most valuable as far as the conservation of forest and wildlife resources are concerned. And the next we are having protected forest. Almost one-third of the total forest area is protected forest as declared by the forest department. This forest land are protected from any further depletion. And the last we are having unclassed forest. These are other forest and wasteland belonging to both government and private individuals and communities. So now we will talk about community and conservation. Conservation strategies are not new in our country. We often ignore that in India. Forests are also home to some of the traditional communities. In some areas of India, local communities are struggling to conserve these habitats along with government officials, recognizing that only this will secure their own long-term livelihood. In Siriska Tiger Reserve, Rajasthan villagers have fought against mining by citing the Wildlife Protection Act. In many areas, villagers themselves are protecting habitat and rejecting government involvement. The inhabitants of 5 villages in the Alwar districts of Rajasthan have declared 1,200 hectares of forest as the Bhairodev Dagar Sanctuary, declaring their own set of rules and regulation which do not allow hunting and are protecting the wildlife against any outside encroachments. Students, Indians worship the sacred groves also. Nature worship is an age-old tribal belief based on premise that all creations of nature have to be protected. Such belief have preserved several virgin forests in pristine form called sacred groves. The forest of gods and goddesses. These patches of forest or parts of large forest have been left untouched by the local people and any interference with them is banned. Certain societies revere a particular tree which they have preserved from time immemorial. The Mundas and Santhalas of Chota Nagpur region worship Mahua and Kadamba trees, and the tribal of Odisha and Bihar worship the Tamandan trees and mango trees during their weddings. To many of us, people and banyan trees are considered sacred. Indian society comprises several cultures, each with its own set of traditional methods of conserving nature and its creation. Sacred qualities are often ascribed to springs, mountain peaks, plants and animals which are closely protected. You will find troops of mekas and langurs around many temples. They are fed daily and treated as a part of temple devotees. In and around Bishnoi villages in Rajasthan, herds of blackbuck, nilgai and peacock can be seen as an integral part of the community and nobody harms them. Students, you know the famous Chipko movement in the Himalayas has not only successfully resisted deforestation in several areas but has also shown that community afforestation with indigenous species can be enormously successful. Attempts to revive the traditional conservation methods or developing new methods of ecological farming are now widespread. Farmers and citizens group like Beej Bachao Andolan in Tehri, Navdanya have shown that adequate levels of diversified crop production without the use of synthetic chemicals are possible and economically viable. And if we will talk about our India, in India, Joint Forest Management, which is also known as JFM program, furnishes a good example for involving local communities in the management and restoration of degraded forest. The program has been in formal existence since 1988 when the state of Odisha passed the first resolution for joint forest management. JFM depends on the formation of local institutions that undertake protection activities mostly on degraded forest land managed by the forest department. In return, the members of these communities are entitled to intermediary benefits like non-timber forest produces and share in the timber harvested by successful protection. The clear lesson from the dynamics of both environmental destruction and reconstruction in India is that local communities everywhere have to be involved in some kind of natural resource management. But there is still a long way to go before local communities are at the center stage in decision making. So accept only those economic or developmental activities that are people centric, environmental friendly and economically rewarding. And with the completion of this topic, our lesson is going to be finished. Thank you so much.